parental rights in 7 states in the United States. Those 7 states are Maryland, Alabama, Mississippi, North Dakota, Wyoming, New Mexico, and I only got 6 listed, but there's 7. And I think that is so crazy because so you always hear about the talks with women's rights on whether or not they have the right to have an abortion. For any, whatever your decision is, the one argument that you always hear is, what if a woman gets raped and she gets pregnant from the rapist? You can't get an abortion now. And even though there's all those statistics like, oh, that's always the argument, this and that, you got to think this is one of those laws. Rapists can claim parental rights in several states in the United States. You get raped. Imagine getting raped by a guy, getting pregnant, and you living in those states, and you're not allowed to get an abortion. How crazy and archaic is that? You're gonna tell me I can't get an abortion from this guy that I don't want anything to do with, and then on top of that, him being a rapist can claim parental rights. If there's anything that's disgusting, it's a law like that. Another law that I found is women in Saudi Arabia can't drive. They just got the right to vote in 2015. So I know when I was in the Marine Corps, we went to Dubai. Dubai was pretty cool, but it's so crazy in the Middle East how separated people are. They're not allowed to, like women. Okay, so women have to walk a certain amount of paces behind a man. When they get in the car with a man, like the United States, if my wife and I want to go to the movies or we're coming out of the mall or whatever the case, I get in the driver's seat or the passenger seat, whatever one it is, and she gets in the driver or the passenger seat. She sits up front with me, is what I'm getting at. In Dubai, even back then, 2013, in Dubai, women had to sit in the back. And if they're going out with other women, like they want to go to the mall or something like that and they want to get a taxi, there's only certain taxis with, I think they were marked with a pink color that women were allowed to take. They can't even take a regular taxi. They had to take a special taxi. So it's those things that it's just crazy, especially in Saudi Arabia, the only country in the world where women are not allowed to drive. That's one of those that I had to list. It was just one of those crazy, crazy things in my head. Here's one. In Israel, a woman needs her husband's permission to get a divorce. What kind of backwards debacle nonsense is that? A woman can't get a divorce without her husband's permission. It's like, hey, babe, it's not working out. Can we get a divorce? Yeah, let me go right ahead and sign that permission slip for you because you're right. Why would I argue with a woman who has all the rights that I have in this country? That's such a... I wonder what these morons are thinking in their heads when they write these ridiculous laws. Another ridiculous law for you guys. This one will piss you off. It pissed me off. In Nigeria, a husband is allowed to hit his wife or quote unquote correct her by law. There's actually like a section in their laws that says men are allowed to hit women, or the husband is allowed to correct the woman if she does something wrong. Because she's basically his kid. He has to discipline her. You got here's another one in North Carolina, United States, North Carolina. No doesn't mean no in North Carolina. Basically, it's not considered rape if you're in the middle of doing it and the woman changes her mind and the man is like, nah, we already in here. Like, I get how that can be really messy and how not great that can go over in court and, with all that stuff. But man, how many times I can only imagine the situations that women go through where either they're drunk or they don't know what they're doing or they think they get pressured into doing things. Men pressure women into having sex all the time. Sometimes the women consent, sometimes they don't. But if you're in the middle of doing something like that and the woman's just like, listen, I'm freaking out. I'm not having a good time. I need to stop. We can't do this anymore. And imagine the guy's just like, no, we're already in the middle. I'm already halfway through. We're going to go and take this all the way. And a woman like no doesn't mean no in North Carolina. man. So we've come a long way in a pretty short amount of time, depending on how you look at it. But we have a longer way of going. And man, it's just some things like that kind of stress me out. But like I said, we can't always, we can talk about the good things, but we have to highlight the bad just to see what else we need to focus on to make it better. Man, that's a little depressing. Which actually leads me to this story about a woman named Mary Ziegler and Bill Hendricks. So imagine 14 years old, both of you guys are high school sweethearts. You guys start dating at 14, you go through high school, and as soon as you're 18 and you graduate, you tie the knot. A bunch of people, I know, being in the Marine Corps, a ton of people who've actually done that. Didn't always last, but sometimes they do, So in this case, you got these two getting married right after high school, 24 years. 24 years. They had two beautiful children, but then it kind of gets sour towards the end, and they get a divorce. No biggie. Not every relationship that ends in divorce is a failure. It just means some people grow apart sometimes, nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people get divorces, and when you have kids, it gets really rough, and it gets really, it's not the greatest because, somebody wants half of everything you got, and it's not always civil. In this case, it was a lot more civil, and it actually gives me hope for some things, So basically, what happens is ex-husband Bill Henrichs, whatever. Bill gets diagnosed with diabetes, and he needs a kidney problem. This is a story for you guys who like to drink soda and eat a bunch of candy. Take care of yourselves, please. Anyway, he needs a kidney. His daughter, a bunch of people tried to see if there were matches. Nobody matched, but his daughter, of course. It's his daughter. She's like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to have to give my dad a kidney. But his daughter's a single mother of her own, kind of doing her own thing. And giving a kidney, it's not just as simple as like, okay, cool, I'm going to get on the table. You're going to have it, and I'm going to be back up to the thing. So his, Mary, the mother, she don't want to see her daughter giving a kidney up. So what she does is she goes and sees she's a match, and without hesitation gives her ex-husband a kidney. Now, some people walk away with half of their income or walk away with the dog and the check and stuff like that. But this has been, from the story, it's actually pretty civil. She gives him a kidney. He actually survives. He's living and everything's good. And when they asked her, what went through your mind giving the kidney, she says, and I quote, "If this story changes one person's actions or attitude towards their ex, it'll all be worth it." There's way too many end quote. There's way too many times where you hear of a nasty breakup and violence gets ensued. Not for nothing, but I know my mom and my dad were not on the best of terms when just kind of throughout my whole life until I graduated from boot camp and kind of told them to get their shit together. They definitely did not get along at all. But today they're cool. Everything's good. It probably helps that I'm an adult, but yeah. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that positive news story, because we talked about a lot of discriminations, a lot of things about Women's History Month, and there's just so much more to go. So I brought that one up because Mary, being a woman she is, could have just kind of said, screw you to her husband after 24 years, but she went very, very civil. Everything worked out. Everything became, she gave her husband a kidney. The dad didn't need to do anything else. And I guess, my dad actually gave his brother a kidney once. And granted, they're brothers. It's a whole bunch of different story, but it's not something as simple as people just, that's a whole organ, man. And now he can't eat shellfish, unfortunately, which is a really weird side effect, because I remember growing up, my dad used to eat crabs and lobster and shrimp and crawfish and every day, all the time. So thankfully, I don't have that problem because I still like to eat crab. But once again, I'm going on a tangent. So with that being said, I think I rambled on enough, shared my opinion just enough for today, and I'll leave you guys with that. So if you guys enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family. go tell the women in your life that you are happy and that you appreciate them and that they are worth everything. This has been the Limelight Highlight. Once again, I'm your host, Jonathan Rosario. Go out there, do something positive, show some appreciation to the women in your lives. Get them flowers. Women love flowers. Encourage them to do something good. If you have a little lady in your life, as far as a daughter or somebody that you can influence doing good, kind of point them in the right direction, to show them all the women of history. If any time is a time to celebrate a women, it's now, because it's National History Month, Women's History Month, and there's nothing but a ton of, what's the word I'm looking for? Progress to be made from here on out. So if you have anything that you'd like to discuss or want an opinion about, or have anything you want to highlight, even if it's negative, like I said before, we can't progress and we can't have anything positive or what to work on without highlighting some of the negative. Feel free to do that. Write me at limelight@gmail.com or Instagram and Facebook at Limelight Highlight. With that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you guys have a good week. Peace.